Adrian Newey has been heavily related to a move outside from Red Bull, and it seems like the Austrian team have found out about this information from the media, just like us. The fact that the British mastermind has decided to change his environment, as reported by multiple reliable media and people close to Newey, goes to show that the internal battle between Red Bull's power figures is all but finished. With this in mind, which teams would benefit the most out of the current situation in Red Bull, and is this the start of the downfall for the Austrian squad? It goes without saying that one of the greatest bombshells has been circulating in the world of Formula One after Adrian Newey is reportedly looking for an exit from Red Bull, with the primary reason being stated that he's not satisfied with the current internal power struggle that's been happening, of course, for quite some time. However, an additional reason could also be found in Newey's position and involvement in Red Bull's car development, more precisely the RB20, a car which he reportedly saw at the launch in Milton Keynes and was not involved in nearly as much as he was with the RB18 or the RB19. The first signs were seen with the RB19 when Horner went on to state that Newey spent only 50% of his working time in Red Bull on developing the car, and there are certain figures in the Austrian team that have taken over the aerodynamic development path of the car, such as Pierre Wash and Enrico Balbo. This could be one of the primary reasons why Horner was so brave to comment about Newey's influence not nearly being as great as we would have originally anticipated, and by putting him on the RB17 hypercar project, the 50-year-old team principal could have triggered a cascade of actions that are irreversible and now can't be undone. But ultimately, it all comes down to the power struggle in Red Bull, one that the team is so willing to hide from the public, but also one that is constantly appearing with new information and details. What might have triggered Newey's move, according to his close sources, is the potential power that Horner will grab now that he has support from the Thai-backed side, which owns the majority of the team, and are dissatisfied with the successor to Dietrich Mateschitz, Oliver Minzlaff. And the dissatisfaction from Newey could very well be understood. He has been part of Red Bull ever since 2006, and had it not been for him, it's highly unlikely that we would have seen the dominances that happened from 2010 to 2013, as well as the current ground effect era in which the Austrian team has zero competition in. When talking about this matter in a further extent, Craig Slater from Sky F1 went on to extract more details about what allegedly happened in the Red Bull camp so that Newey would think about a move elsewhere, with the pundit adding, "Multiple senior figures that I've spoken to have expressed to me that there is discontentment with Adrian Newey and that he is certainly considering bringing his time at Red Bull to an end. I've been in touch via official channels with the Red Bull team themselves, and they have explained to me that they are unaware of any official communication from Newey notifying of his intention to serve notice and to leave Red Bull Racing, with whom he has an association for pretty much almost the last 20 years. However, regardless of which team would draw the attention of Newey, you are probably guessing that there will be a huge issue in terms of when his services could be used for that particular team. For example, Newey is under a contractual situation with Red Bull until at the end of the 2025 season, and if he is to work out a buyout, then he will be on a gardening leave for 1 year, meaning that if he joins his long-desired wish, Ferrari, then he could implement his services at around this time next year. That means that until 2027, his true effect won't be seen in a team, and the fact that Red Bull and Ferrari went into a different direction with their car developments for 2024 and 2025 goes to show that while this move is very much hyped up, the new regulations from 2026 would go on to diminish the influence that Newey will have on a car's development. Not that it won't be important, quite the contrary, he's still one of the most important high-profile members in the sport. It's just the fact that with the increased importance of the engine and battery power, the aerodynamic surfaces of the car will play less a role than what they're playing in this current era. Be that as it may, Red Bull is still unaware of the situation, and according to Slater, Adrian is yet to make up his mind about which team would be the next choice if his final decision is to leave Red Bull. Adding to this matter, Craig said, "Red Bull are also unaware, as I understand it, of any formal approach from another Formula One team to Adrian Newey, and the one or two individuals I've spoken to close to Newey have expressed to me that if he is seriously considering leaving, he has not made up his mind what future direction his career should take. But when you have Formula.Uno and Automotor and Sport report about this matter, with the second outlet being the one that reported about the Horner saga before it was even officially launched by the Austrian squad, you can't turn a blind eye to all of these talks. As for Newey, there is no doubt that Ferrari are in the lead for his signature, especially after Adrian was spotted in Bologna's airport, a city in Italy which is 40 kilometres close to Maranello, the headquarters of Ferrari. Even though the team stated that his visit to Italy was purely related to a motorsport racing event, it turns out that maybe there has been a bit more behind this, as the British mastermind has likely held talks with highly respected individuals in Ferrari, with the team also believing to take a more serious approach in the second wave of negotiations with Newey. This second wave came after Aston Martin offered the British engineer a blank cheque to write his salary on, a rumour that has been circulating in the sport ever since the Jeddah GP, where it was also stated that Aramco would be purchasing a controlling stake of the Silverstone-based squad and would be more than happy to bring both Newey and Verstappen in a combined package. And you couldn't help but note that Newey's importance to the team is much greater than just designing cars, as it was stated by many F1 experts that if they had the opportunity to sign Verstappen or Newey to their team, with all due respect to the Dutchman, but majority of the executives apparently would go for the signature of the British engineer. Even Newey himself expressed the desire to work with some of the most legendary teams on the grid, like Ferrari, as well as the drivers who left a massive imprint on the sport, like Hamilton and Alonso. Now, the situation is very interesting because both Hamilton and Ferrari, being in the same team, you could easily see where his priorities would lay if he's to choose a change of environment. But we can't take away the position of Aston Martin as well. The team is based in his home country, just like Red Bull is. The collaboration with Honda from 2026 onwards, as well as the contract with Alonso, will also play a massive role in his decision, and therefore it would be very interesting to see which team Newey would choose to go to. What we cannot throw away from the window is the opportunity that Mercedes might present to the British mastermind as well, because ultimately we would be having a combination of two of the greatest minds in the sport in their own respective areas, Allison and Newey. And if we're to put all of these three teams on the weight scale, it's safe to assume that Mercedes is the one that needs the most fixing, given their current struggles with the aerodynamic concept of the car. Plus, if Newey manages to fix the issues for Mercedes, even though it's highly unlikely that he can have any impact on what will be implemented on the car until 2027, the fact that Wolff was steady when it comes to picking a driver next to Russell and adding that while Horner remains at the helm of Red Bull, anything is possible, we could be witnessing history in the making from the British mastermind. With all of this in mind, Newey does have a lot of options on his plate, and it was not excluded that he could retire at the end of the year and come back with a fresher and clearer mind in Ferrari. But with his services being desired to this point, do you think that Newey would end up with Ferrari, or do you think that there is a situation in which he could be landing in Aston Martin, or even, more surprisingly, Mercedes? Let us know in the comments below, and once you do that, check out the video that's appearing on your screen right now.